It's what we learned. Another thing that we were trying to understand was that if we do have, let's just say, a S4HANA on-premise service, or let's just say by that, for that example, a S4HANA public cloud service as well, we would like to consume, how we can do that. For that example, we tried considering API Business Partner as a service. We understood that in case we would like to consume such service, we would have that particular service as an, let's just say, a EDMX file of it into our project. Then we would say CDS import, a project would be imported over here like this, and post which the if it's a public cloud service, which I do have a API key for, and I would like to do a, let's just say, sandbox level testing for that. I can add a sandbox profile for that and add a credential by saying a URL of the endpoint and add a header API key. By the means of this, we would be able to do the local testing of this, and data would be fetched from this particular endpoint, which is nothing but the one which has been hosted on a public cloud. For that, we would need certain package like this, right? And if you would like to go by, let's just say, some sort of on-premise system, then we would need some destination which would configure those information. For that, we configure a production variant of it by specifying the credential, destination, and the other stuff. Now, while doing that, what we should also be knowing is that at this point in time in the data model, we would fetch the property, the one which we need. In the service, we would try to expose the service like we used to do it for the normal service. And while consuming it, like we used to initialize the transaction like this, here we would initialize the transaction, or I can say a remote transaction, by saying cds.connect to. Now, the moment we do that, we would get an instance, and for that, we can run any query we want, either the one which we are getting into the input, or maybe if you want, we can also, let's just say, write the queries that we used to say, maybe select and from a particular entity and the other stuff. Okay. So this ultimately gives you the remote transaction. All the other operations would anyway work the way it used to. Now, in order for us to do that, we understood a concept of, let's just say, cloud connector, saying, okay, a cloud connector would help me connect my cloud account to on-premise, by the means of which this information would be exposed. We were facing some issue with the connection yesterday. So what, when I try analyzing, what we figured out is that, okay, this connection over here is working fine. Okay, S4HANA 2022, there is something which I used. But in the destination, there is one particular property which we ideally should not be using. So here we added multiple property. The property that was causing some trouble, which logically also does not make sense to be there, was this particular, let's just say, forward auth token. Because what happens is you are not forwarding auth token, you are evaluating, or I can say validating your on call, right? The moment you try connecting yourself, you are trying to validate whether the call that I'm making is a valid one or not. That's something that was causing some trouble. So I removed that forward auth token over here, and still, as we can see, the connection over here should be fine. And now if I just go over here in overview and let's just say try opening the dev space over here. Maybe this two service has stopped. Let me just start this one. It's on-premise service connection. I'll click on this and maybe this one as well. And maybe we'll give it a minute to start, and we'll also validate with whether my DB is up and running or not. Once it's there, maybe we should be able to say started. Let's see whether it really does. Okay, there is something I see. App router. Now let's say this one. This one also seems to be running. Click on this. It should log in, maybe the way it used to. Okay, I can see these things coming. Now I would try to get the business partners, for example. And I can see the data coming from my on-premise system. Multiple business partners are coming. Let's just say this is the one that we have seen yesterday, right? These are the one. And even I think URI option should also work. If I say, let's just say $top equal to 10, then it just fetch the 10 records over here. So any operation like we used to do in a native OData on-premise service, once after consuming, you can do the same thing. And the query over here would capture all those things, and it would work the way it used to work in normal one. So here we are able to perform the operation on a CAPS on on-premise service with the help of a CAP. Okay. Anyone has any doubts, anything to discuss till now? Or maybe if not, we can proceed with the further topics. Okay, now let's just proceed with few more things. So now today what we are going to focus on, there are a couple of things we would spend some time on is, we would like to have a Fury application, let's just say, which would consume our CAP service, and that's something that we would like to finally available on my BTP environment. Okay. Now, in order for me to do that, what I would be interested in doing is, maybe let's just say if I go in HTML5 application, this is the place where all my Fury application would ideally appear. Okay. In order for me to have that, I might need some sort of a launchpad service. Okay. And when I say I would need some launchpad service, maybe that can be, let's just say, either a build work zone or a success factor or a cloud portal. Let's say I would like to go with a build work zone as a launchpad service that I would use, where my application would be deployed and I should be able to see it as a tile. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll click on this subscribe over here, and it would help me search for that application, and I'll create a subscription for that. Okay, so I see a SAP build work zone over here. I'll click on create, and here I'll go with a subscription plan over here, and I'll just say create over here. And maybe we should also be able to go over here in the instance in subscriptions, and we see it's under creation. Okay. Now, the moment it gets created, we should be able to view the relevant roles also coming up. So if I just go in the user, try opening this. So here we see Launchpad admin, theming, external user. So admin, it means the one which can maintain. External user, it means who can just access the Launchpad URLs and can, let's just say, view the final Launchpad, which might contain a number of end user tiles. Theming means designing purpose. Okay, so I'll just assign this role. Let's see whether this is processing. It might take maybe a minute or some time in order for it to load. Post which maybe it might need, let's just say, many a time it works immediately, or many a time it might also need to sign out and sign in order for the roles to get reflected and for you to access the launchpad. Not the launchpad, but I can say build works on maintenance. Okay. So that's something anyway we would be consuming towards the end, but first we would like the platform to be ready. That's the reason we are just making the setup over here. I can see, okay, it just got subscribed. Let's just try to go to the application. Okay, so I can see a site manager getting loaded. Okay, now I can see the site manager getting loaded. So this is something we would use once our application is deployed. We just made our platform ready so that we can use it. Okay, now in order for us to proceed, let's just go one more step forward and try to, let's just say, create one more project. That's something we would be able to use. So I'll click on this triple dot. We'll try to open a terminal and we would proceed with one more project over here. So I'll just simply say CDS init, and maybe let's just say we are interested in creating a BTP project which we would be deploying on build work zone, and we would say project. And we would, let's just say, simply navigate to that one. Let's just keep an eye on that. And let's just try enriching it with some information. Okay, so I'll just simply say data model, like the way we used to do. Okay, and now what we would need is maybe, let's just say, okay, we would create a simple application, for example, Okay, I would say I would like to create an application which deals with my some sort of a sales data. So I'll just simply say BTP dot S, and I would try to get the aspect, the one which we used to use. Okay, and now what we would need is we would create an entity over here. Okay, I'll just simply say cells, for example. Okay, and here we would create a unique ID for it, and I'll just simply say, okay, which product is something that um, this particular person is selling. So I'll just simply say maybe the product information that the person is selling is, let's just say, I can describe it in 255 characters. Okay. Now maybe there can be a sales department as well. I'll just say department, and maybe okay. I'll just simply okay. Let's just try doing this. Okay, so in a code and let's just say description based manner. So what I'll do is I'll give a description of type. Let's just say 10 character. Give a name, or I can say code of type stretching to maximum 10, and maybe I'll have a master entity as well, which would say maybe um, sales department. Okay, and here we would say I have a key over here, which is nothing but a department ID, and which is of type string 10, for example, and there is a department name which I might use, and this is of type, let's just say string 100. And as I am having a department, I can say, okay, sales department of this is associated to one of the entry in my sales department over here. Okay, I'll just say on my sales department dot department ID over here is matching with the department of my entity. Possible, right? Another thing that we would do is we'll say, okay, if it's a sales, let's just ensure that, okay, this table always keeps the track of, let's just say, what was the total sales that has been made. So I'll just simply say, okay, sales amount, and maybe let's just say the sales amount might go from, let's just say, total, how, what is the precision? So let's just say, I'll say, okay, up to 10 digit of cells, and maybe of, let's just say, two decimal places. Okay, and maybe the currency of it, let's just say whether it was in INR or USD, or let's just say whatever it is. So I'll just simply say currency code, and I'll say, for example, it's a currency, so mostly it would be INR, USD, or multiple things. So I'll just simply say string, and let's just say 3 over here. Okay, now while I'm doing this, like we used to get in your normal ABAP, maybe we are not seeing any errors while this is being launched, but definitely from the logical perspective, this also needs to be correlated. Now, in order for us to correlate this, there are certain semantics annotation that would come into picture. First thing, what we should ideally be in a position to do is we should be able to mark whether this particular property has got a special semantics, has got some special meaning. So I'll just simply say, okay, the semantics of it says, okay, there is nothing but a currency code. Okay, plus we would say that, okay, as this has got a currency code, which currency code it is linked to. So I'll just simply say semantics. Maybe somehow it's not coming into value help amount dot currency code, and here we would be able to show the currency code. Maybe let's just say there is a currency code. So what we are ultimately doing is we are saying that, okay, this is a currency code, and this sells amounts, then what is the currency code of this? So there can be n number of field which would be of type semantic currency code. One can be a, let's just say, a plant currency, a customer currency, right? So in which currency I would like to document this. So I'll just say this is the currency code on which I would like to. And if I just simply try exposing this, so for example, let's see how it looks like into the service. I'll just simply say self-service.cds. Okay, I'll just simply say using oops, my bad, BTP dot SSBS from data model service sales service. I would like to expose this information as a, let's just say, my sales data as select from my BS dot sales, and I'll just say entity of my sales department as select from BS dot sales department. Okay, and let's try viewing this particular endpoint that just got generated. I can see a metadata coming up, and here maybe we should be able to see. Okay, let's see. It says okay, there is a currency code. There is a sales amount. Somehow the relationship which I was expecting is not being visible somehow, but let's see if we can get it in some other version. Is a association maybe the way we used to have it. I guess it's the same kind of a thing that we just got as well. Okay, let's see. Maybe the V4 conversion is something that is ultimately does not show this. Maybe we can try viewing this into the. Okay, let's just try doing this. I'll just say I would like to get the OData V2 proxy in case in V2 it starts shows. So what I'm trying to look for is when I have an amount, when I have a currency code, ideally the source document if might show, let's just say the SAP unit property of it, right, in the metadata document. That's something which I was just expecting because I mean that's something that was quite native and would ideally appear. But there is something I don't see over here. Let's see if it's in the OData V2 convention. Hmm, maybe there is something which I don't see coming up here as well. Let's see. Case that's considering, or maybe we can also do something in order for us to have this. Because there is a ideal thing that we would ideally use, Capire, whenever we would like to go with some sort of an amount kind of a field. Okay, this is how we ideally specify. Semantic amount currency code and this one, was that a typo? Not really, right? I don't see a possibility of having a typo as such. And let's say this one. Not in V2, and I'll just go in V4 and check. No, maybe in the metadata document it's not showing it, but maybe ideally it should be there. Let's see. Maybe we'll see if it applies practically. Okay. Now, what we would try to do is okay. What we would try to do is we would try to actually visualize this so to see how it appears into the output, because my expectation would be that if it is actually linked with the way I am expecting it to be, then this particular sales amount, if I try exposing, I should also be able to see the currency code coming up, because logically if it does, then it means it's logically linked to it. Okay. Uh, so I'll just simply try annotating it. Okay. Now let's just try using the service that we do have. And we would try to just annotate a bit of information of it. Let's just say I would like to create a maybe what we call it as a self-service. Okay, now we are at least seeing the properties coming up. Okay, fine. Now, what let's just say I would like to create a normal table over here, and we would try to make our application ready. So it looks maybe, and we would be able to maintain the information that we want. Some issue with the value help extends. See whether oh my bad. What was the name of the entity? Sales data, right? We are trying to annotate it, the things on sales data. Now, yeah, now it came. Okay, perfect. Okay, now we would go with a product name over here, and maybe let's just say another one would be department, sales amount, currency code. Okay, let's just try avoiding currency code for now. Then we'll see, okay, if we can also have that. Okay, and maybe let's just say I would also like to have some information on this one. So first I'll say if I can have the graph capability enabled, and I would like to add a HANA DB also to it. So I can persist the data. So the transaction and everything are visually appearing, right? Now, after doing this, let's just say I would like to build my project for HANA. And we can also log in over here, and we can also see if my HANA DB instance is still running. It should. Is there is not the one, there is the version. Okay, it's running. Okay, now we'll just try to make the first instance of it available onto my container. So let's just say in the normal execution, I can at least utilize the HANA DB instance of it. Okay, let it come. Okay, the key is being generated, so maybe mostly on the last stage. Okay, by that time, maybe in order for us to also have the data appearing for my department, right? I'll just also try to create some test data for that. I'll just simply create an HTTP file. Okay, in this case, the name of service was sales. It is sales. Okay. And we would try to load the metadata. I'll just say get departments. What was the name of it? This is the sales department. Okay, so the deployment is also done. I would like to run this now. CDS watch profile hybrid. Okay. Now let's see the service is coming up. Okay, and I would like to get the sales department, which would ideally be 0 for now. I would like to create one. Create department. I'll just simply say post, and I'll try to create one entry for this. What all properties does it need, and content type it would need is a application JSON. What was the property? Department ID and department name. So I'll just simply say department ID over here is called, let's just say FS. Maybe we'll just also add the name of it. I'll just simply say field cells. And I'll just say on-call cells, maybe just to categorize. And I'll try to view the records. And I can see it coming up over here. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll just close this, and we'll try to also view the application, how it looks like. I'll just try to view the data in the theory preview over here. Okay, I can see the records coming up over, at least I can see the table coming up over here. Maybe we would now need to maintain that as well. What we would do is we'll try to enrich this with the facet information. Let's just create a field group. And for the field group, maybe have we added the properties of managed as well? Yeah, we did. So I'll just create a two field group over here. One for my basic data. The label, maybe we'll call it as a sales information. And I'll just add my product name and department, and let's just say sales amount. And we would also try creating one more field group here. We'll call it as admin data. And we'll just simply say administrative data. Data we would be looking for over here is, let's just say, created by, at, and all. Okay, and we would try to plug this into a facet. Okay, so I'll just make two reference facet for that. First, let's just say basic data, and another one for admin data. Let me just try adding the properties over here. Maybe I'll just simply say sales data over here. Okay, and I'll just simply, okay, it was this one, ID and admin data. Let's just try refreshing this. Okay, let's try creating something. Here, one thing maybe we are still missing is the amount is not coming up with the thing that we are actually looking for. Okay, let's just try enriching this information a bit if that helps. The semantic information as per documentation should have worked, but if it is not working, maybe we'll try enriching this with maybe in a bit old way. Okay, let's just try doing this if it works out. What I would need is certain property. Maybe for the currency, we should be able to say that, okay, there is a particular currency and it has got a particular semantics that, okay, there is a currency code, right? So what I'll do is there is my sales amount and maybe the currency of it would be, let's just say currency code over here. Let's just say maybe it was called. Okay, so I just am trying to uh, show that it's a currency code. Let's see if my metadata shows that up. Maybe over here in V2 ideally it should. Okay, it shows, but it's equal to, that's a typo. Yeah, typo. Now, if there is a currency code and if I can somehow specify that, okay, there is a unit for my amount, so maybe then it might help. So what I'll do is I'll just simply add a bracket over here, comma, like this. And let's see if I can say maybe the unit, that's what we used to call it as. The unit of it is maybe, let's just say currency code. So I'll just simply set this one. Okay, where do we set the sales data? Here, sales. This is showing the cells. Okay, semantics. Oh, maybe did it got reloaded? Not really, right? Oh, not. It's coming up with the equal to over here. I change it to dash, right? Currency code. Somehow, but it's not reloading the metadata somehow. Okay, now it removed. It was caching it, it seems. Now I see SAP unit coming up over here as a currency code. And now if I just simply try removing this, there is some caching issue, it seems. And now I can also see this coming up. Okay. Let's just go back and try to do a Fiori preview here. Then let's just start from 0. It's still somehow not mapping this. There is some issue with this documentation then. Correct. So this is how ideally we do that, but maybe there is some issue with the connection. I can say there is some issue with the documentation. Maybe the part that they have specified over here is not working the way it should ideally. Okay, need to look into that. Let's just say product name over here. The one maybe let's just say purifier. Department, let's just say field cells, and I'll just say 1000 something. Is coming somehow it's inconsistent, so let's just also try to make this look a bit better. I'll just simply say this one data field as currency code. Okay, now it does, right? It seems okay. No, I guess it's coming up like this because I have not given a title. If I would, then definitely it would again come at. I mean, we can make it look like it's the one, but still what I see is that maybe it was just because of this. It's showing it separate. I mean, if I would not have written title, it would look as if it worked, but it did not. I'll just save this. Let's see. Maybe we'll check if there is some right documentation for this because at least this is not working out the way it should. Maybe it was Nishant, right? It was a question from you. Maybe I'll let you know. Maybe I get something on this. Okay. Now let's just also try to go with a department over here. Maybe one sec. We did something wrong, isn't it? This department over here should not have this. Huh? This should be with this one. Right? And it should be with this one. It's a sales amount to which we want this to be associated. No? Department was anyway an isolated one. There is a currency code, and I again give it a try. Let's just close this. Sales amount has a currency code, and there is the one, and scale 2. Let's see if it shows something in peer preview. No, it did not. It's still showing the isolated value, right? It's not showing the currency code together. Okay, maybe we'll see. Okay, now maybe one more thing. Let's just say if I do have this field, but I don't want it to, let's just say, be like the one it is right now, like input field. I rather would like it to be a field which can show me some sort of a data in a form of a value help. So for example, we are talking about a department, and in department, if I just go over here, there should be something on to the property level, okay, which can help me getting this particular thing working. So maybe let's just say there is a particular title post which there should be some sort of annotation of type common. Maybe there is no comma specified here. Common, yeah. Here we see a value list coming up, right? So there is a value list which would ultimately help us with the value help. Okay. So for example, what do I want to specify? For that, I'll specify a collection path. And here we can see a sales department coming up. These are the things that we would show that. Maybe what is the label of the entity? I can say this value help. I'll just say, okay, I would like to show it as a department. And maybe let's just say I would also like to show us what all information should ideally come up. Okay, so for that, we have something called parameters. Okay, and here what we are supposed to show is, let's just say some parameter that should go in the filter and also come into output. So I'll just say local data property. Now, when it comes to local data property, you are talking about a property which is local to your entity on which you are writing this value help. So for example, for me, local data property would be department, but the property of a value help sales department would be nothing but a department ID to which it would get mapped. So I'll just say department ID. And I would also be interested in seeing the, let's just say, out parameter of it, which is nothing but not output, but maybe let's just say for some display purpose, the description of it, which is nothing but a department name. So I'll just simply say, I would also need this. It's a department name. Okay. Let's see if there is some difference in the way the data was looking alike earlier. I'll edit this. And here I can see a value help coming in. Okay. It should ideally, yeah, here we see on call cells or this one. Okay. Now maybe it's still not that fancy. We would like to show it together in a way. So what we would do is we'll say, I would like to show the data so that my, let's just say, ID of the cells and maybe the description of it also comes along. So maybe what I'll do for that is I'll simply say, maybe let's just try annotating this with which entity. I'll just simply say self service over here, right? So I'll just simply say self service dot sales department is the one that we would like to annotate. And maybe what we would also specify that on our property level, which is nothing but an ID, this ID over here should say, this ID over here should mention that, okay, this particular entity has got a text. Okay. Maybe, okay, yeah, as both are from common, I'll just specify common over here like this. And then I'll say the text of it should be coming from, let's just say department name. Okay. And I'll try refreshing this. Okay, not here. Okay, let's just say is a common text that's coming in. At the same point in time, maybe let's just also specify some sort of a text arrangement. And here we would say text first or text last. Maybe let's just say text first. So we are able to see the text coming as a first one. Plus, maybe we might also be interested where we are specifying the value help here, saying, okay, the text of it should also be coming from the associated entity of it. Okay. So I'll just simply say that this is the one. And here the text of it should ideally come from a property which is in association with it, an association to which it is nothing but a cells information. So what I'll do is I'll just simply say common dot text over here. And here maybe, oh, why not? There is a typo. Yeah, here it is. Okay. So I'll just simply say a name of association of it. So what was it? Sales department. So my sales department might be in a position to give me the information I need. Maybe let's just say department name of it is a text of this. Okay. And here we might be able to say common dot text arrangement. And we would say always show the text as first. Okay. And we would also say that, okay, the SAP text of it is nothing but this one. Let's see how it looks like. Okay, let's just try opening this. Okay, now I can see on-call cells along with this coming up over here, right? Now it looks good, better.